Last minute in episode 88, and as you can tell, I am back from my adventures. Did we even mention where I was last week? I totally forgot.
The city of Detroit.
Yeah. Oh, well, I was.
I once again made a joke about Detroit. The city's a joke.
So, yeah. Let me tell you that my trip was amazing, but this episode is too important to just focus on what I did for the last week. Played against a former third-round draft pick from the Atlanta Thrashers. He didn't pan out.
Who?
I don't remember his name.
Oh.
But he played like 300 career AHL games.
Never played in the NHL?
He had one NHL game and still wears his Atlanta Thrasher helmet and pants.
Nice.
Well, it was probably top of the line gear.
Yeah.
Free.
And they gave it to him.
And it's
Yeah.
free. And you knew he was good because he was just using really like the skates that he used when he played. Like just like Bauer, I think they're like X25s. They're really nice.
I can relate because I went to go buy new hockey equipment this weekend.
Yeah.
I tried on the new stuff. Don't like it. I'm sticking with the old stuff.
Old stuff's better.
It's awesome.
Okay, so here we go. What you can expect in our playoff preview for this year. If this is the first time you've actually ever been to this podcast, hello. We're doing our playoff picks. We have personal picks with ourselves, and then before we get into the playoff preview, we will talk a little bit about the Jets. We got to talk about some other Canadian team stuff. The Senators firing their head coach, and also some stuff in Habland. The future of the bench boss for the Boston Bruins, and the Arizona Coyotes potentially poaching a GM from the Toronto Maple Leafs.
You don't go silent. It doesn't.
I'm shaking my head at you.
I just want to say, while you're doing the preview,
Yeah.
I thought of the worst podcast that one could possibly ever do and host.
What?
An audio podcast where a magician comes in and does tricks. Isn't that be the worst podcast ever?
Worst
Okay,
podcast
sorry.
ever.
So Arizona.
So then after Arizona, we'll go into our full playoff preview, talk about every series, who we like, who we don't like, do our personal picks because we have personal bets with the three of us. So if we do this properly,
Cam's
I'm gonna
always
get
extremely biased.
exactly. I'm gonna get Cam to do a timestamp to when our actual playoff preview starts, so that if you don't want to listen to us jibber jabber about everything else, you can get straight to the playoff preview. So, Cam, I'm done talking for now. So you guys can talk about the Jets season. How do they finish out for the year? Do you
Dan,
guys have
let me
their
have
record?
it. Who did they do? What did they happen?
Do you not have their record?
Who did they do?
Actually, I just want
Could not tell you. But they did win their last
the
4
state
games.
of California. That's what.
They did win their last 4 games, and they fucked the Kings out of the Pacific Division title.
Yeah, but while doing so, they also fucked themselves out of Austin Matthews.
I know.
Damn it! Come piss. Why?
The Jets finished
Why not?
6-2-2 in their final 10 games. So clearly bringing up some young guys, letting them play, worked out for them. They finished the season 35-39-8 for 78 points, which is 9 points out of playoffs behind the Minnesota Wild.
They had the worst power play percentage in the whole NHL this year.
Well,
30.
I've been saying it for years now. They need to get rid of their assistant coaches. They are awful.
Half of them got fired like 2 years ago, right?
Yeah, they
No,
need,
just 1 or 2.
no.
And they've signed.
Well, yeah, but they only have
They
4,
signed them all to
right?
extensions last.
They
God
re-signed. They signed a guy from Montreal to be their power play specialist after Montreal boasted the 28th best power play in the league. 28th, meaning third worst, and they signed him to help make the Jets' blue line better.
When you said 28th best, in my head, I'm like, that's not bad. And then you said it's third worst. I'm like, oh, yeah, right. Marketing 101.
Some fun facts about the Jets this year. Blake Wheeler had as many points as the Jets did.
Bam!
Boom.
That's
And still was no all-star.
Nope. Mark Scheifele, one goal short of 30, but pretty goddamn good.
Name 2 Team Canada World Championships.
Also, the second highest scoring player the second half of the season, other than Sidney Crosby.
Oh, God.
Hey, that's
All the money now! All the money!
Oh, no.
that top line next year could be very good. Very good.
Hey, not only will that top line look good, but their second line just got better because they signed the Phenom College Hobie Baker runner-up because somehow he didn't win it.
Save! I was going to make a joke about it, so you go ahead.
Kyle Connor to a 3-year entry-level deal.
Yeah.
Got
Wait, are you a fan of Samuel L. Jackson?
I'm pretty
No.
sure Bob McKenzie even came out and said he got screwed.
Wait,
So
are
you
you
know
guys,
you really
hold
got
on.
screwed.
Are you guys fans
When?
of Samuel L. Jackson's
course.
action
What kind of
film
question
from
is
the
that?
year 2000?
You mean the snakes on a plane?
He got the
No.
shaft.
Oh,
You mean
you got the
Shaft? You know what's hilarious about that? I thought about that joke at work today. I wrote it on a post-it, and I underlined it. I'm like, I'm going to make it. It's going to land for sure.
He, just to touch on that quickly, when I heard that Jimmy Vesey won the Hobie Baker, I just said, what? He was nominated?
Yeah, he was a finalist with Thatcher Demko. The reason I was watching the UND play Quinnipiac for the Frozen Four. Actually, UND won, so Tucker Pullman, Jets guy, he won.
And Grand Forks went nuts.
Well, yeah, first time
Party
they won in
in
2,000
the
years. Or
streets.
2,000 years.
2,000 years!
There was hockey in the year zero.
So 2000.
Jesus was playing hockey.
It was their 8th title. And what I loved is the first year that they're not called the Fighting Sioux, they won. But the fans were chanting Sioux forever. It was awesome. Sioux forever. Anyways, Drake Kajula, most outstanding player of the Frozen Four, is in talks with the Filthy Flyers. Give me that. Give me that.
Good.
But continuing on, reason being, Jimmy Vesey won. The college guys, the analysts said basically the reason that Jimmy Vesey won over Kyle Connor, it was what essentially we said was they were real peeved that Eichel did so good last year. They didn't want to give it to an 18-year-old. So the BS excuse that the analysts said were, well, in Kyle Connor's division, you play back-to-backs against the same team. As opposed to Jimmy Vesey, you never play the same team back-to-back. You're always playing teams different night and traveling. And so they said because Kyle Connor, he had a familiarity with the teams, so he knew where to shoot on the goalies. So his numbers were inflated. And I'm like, that's the most BS excuse I've ever heard for not giving a kid who got 71 fucking points in 40 games.
Every player knows where to shoot on every goalie because guess what? They watch video.
Yeah, well, apparently if you play a team back-to-back, you know you have an unfair advantage. So
Tell that to the.
So Patrick Kane's getting 30 points every... Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
Tell that to the Winnipeg Jets in 2013 when they played the Washington Capitals back-to-back and got shellacked both nights.
Yeah. Well, hey, Ovi knew where to shoot the first time, right?
And
So
coincidentally-
obviously he's going to shoot the second time.
Coincidentally, Washington beat them by 4 points to the playoff spot.
Yeah. Like, oh, my goodness. So that's the reason, allegedly, why they gave it to Jimmy Vesey.
Now-
Oh, and it was a second nomination. And I'm like, dude, last year has nothing to do with this year. This year's now.
How about
I was miffed.
How about the fact that Kyle Connor got asked to go to the World Championships?
Oh, did he?
For USA,
And did he go?
but
He's going.
didn't make the World Junior team.
Well, that's Ron Wilson move. That's not anyone else but Ron Wilson.
I'm just
Exactly.
gonna say it right now. If he's nominated for the Calder next year, he's not winning it.
He's going to get the shaft again.
Yep. Even if
He's
he
getting
deserves-
No,
The
listen.
first award he's winning is going to be like the Conn Smythe in like 13 years when he plays for another team. That's what's going to happen.
No, this is what's going to happen is he's going to miss the Calder Trophy, have the most rookie scoring points, win the Art Ross, have the most points in the NHL, and
They
lose
still
on
won't
the
give it to
Calder.
him. They
They'll be
still
like,
won't give the
no,
Art
it goes
Ross.
to Austin Matthews. Sorry, kid.
You put up too good of numbers. That doesn't count as a rookie.
That 112-point season you had, not good
Oh yeah,
enough.
he's going to put up 6 more points than Patty Kane this year.
Yeah.
Holy sweet
Let's
Betty.
see. Let's see.
Yeah,
Could you
easy.
imagine?
I'd be okay if he
maybe-
put up 12 points.
Maybe hopes are a little high. Maybe hopes
Yeah.
are a little
Maybe.
high. So,
There's lots of
Realistically-
optimism for the Jets for next year, though. I think if you watch their last 10 games,
a lot of room for optimism.
I think
We have lots of Jets stuff to talk about, obviously, but that is going to happen in the offseason when there's shit all to talk about because we've got a lot of playoffs to talk about. But first, before the playoffs started, there were some firings, some GMs stepping down. 2 Canadian teams. One staying pat with who they have, the other one's doing some changing. So what happened in Sensland, Cam? For Senators fans.
Dave Cameron and all of his assistants got fired.
By whom?
Wasn't it? Not
Because
by,
it's not by Brian Murray.
No, Brian Murray stepped down as GM and Pierre Durion
Durion, yes.
Durion took over. I'm not aware of who this
And
gentleman is.
his
I knew
first-
he was in the organization.
And his first, I watched some of his first press conference, and he's just like, yeah, I knew this was going to be a tough job with a lot of tough decisions. This was a tough one. And then that's basically all he said. I'm like, I like you. I like you already. You don't slur, and you don't say shishi and spesha.
Dick.
you watch your mouth.
Yeah, he's awesome.
I'm not saying he's not awesome.
You stop talking shit. Stop talking shit.
One of the best things that I read on Sunday as I was leaving, he said, Apparently when he stepped down, he's like, I hope I'm remembered as a great person and a good hockey guy. And I'm like, yeah, Brian Murray, I never had an issue with you. Never had an issue. However, Marc Bergevin of the Montreal Canadiens decides that he's going to keep Michel Therrien for another season, will not fire him after they miss the playoffs. So clearly, either ownership has to do something, step in and say,
Mr. Molson?
Somebody has to do something there, because not only is it not acceptable for your team to be as bad as they were, despite no goaltending, but they need to take a step back and say, if we're not good enough to win without a goalie, we need to fix this up front. Because clearly we found out last year a team with a similar build is the New York Rangers. However, they lost Henrik Lundqvist for a big portion of the season last year, down the stretch, and Talbot came in and he played great for them.
Well, they didn't have a backup as good as Cam Talbot.
But
quite frankly, if you
with the carousel of goalies they had, they could have found one guy to at least perform for a little bit. Didn't they have 4 or 5 different goalies? Sorry,
I think so.
Yeah, play for them.
If you gave me the Rangers roster and the Habs roster, no goalies, I'd take the Rangers roster.
Well, so do I.
I think they have a better team.
Then it's
There's no
Bergevin's
superstar in the Rangers, but consistently from the top to the bottom of the lineup.
Bergevin has to take a step back and say, what can I do to change this team? And it's maybe training Subban. But the number one thing was train Therrien. Clearly there's an issue with his relationship with players. Ran P.A. Parento out of the team, and P.A. Parento turned into a 20-goal scorer this year.
Brandon Prest.
Team guy. Great team guy, was beloved in Montreal, and then that turned into the Zach Kassian issue. And now you have Subban, who probably doesn't want to play for Therrien, who they might have to trade. So clearly there's an issue there. And not even to mention Galchenyuk, who was close to 30 goals this season and isn't getting first-line minutes, where Desharnais is.
Well, they drafted Desharnais to be a top-line center. They didn't draft Galchenyuk to be a top-line center.
No.
They drafted him to be third-pairing D.
I think Greg can relate. I think Desharnais falls in the Tyler Bozak category, where he's not terrible, but
he's not great.
He's not that great either.
No, but I can see that.
Toronto never had another option. Montreal, it's right there. You're like,
you have a guy.
Look at every time he plays with someone half as good as him. He puts up numbers.
Do you think anybody would take Subban's contract? Because he had a terrible year.
We talked about this.
He had a terrible production year.
Well, yeah, because every time you have a coach talking down to you. How good would you do in school if every 2 seconds, hey, Mom, look what I got a B. Why isn't it an A, Dan? Daniel, it's an A+ or nothing. There's no B's or C's in this household. Would you be more inclined to do better, or would you get discouraged that you got a good mark?
And also, when you do good things, they don't reward you for it. With Community Service Award. Mm-hmm. Oh, guess who got that? You think it'd be P.K. Subban because he just donated $10 million, $1 million a year for the next 10 years to a children's hospital. No, it's their captain, Max Pacioretty. Mm-hmm. Do you know anything he did in community service? Because I sure as shit do not. I do not.
No.
I mean, PK's not in it for the award, but like, stop shoving Pacioretty down our throat.
He could have done it all by
Here's the other
He's
thing.
still a great guy. I'm not saying he didn't do community service.
Ryan O'Reilly was the nomination for the Buffalo Sabres, and we all know what he did in the offseason.
Yeah, he just paid to rebuild the Tim Hortons.
He thought that they needed some renovations.
So, and one of the last things before we get to playoffs, Claude Julien, the Boston Bruins missed the playoffs for the second straight year. He might be under some fire, might actually get fired. What do you guys think? Is he going to stick around behind the bench in Boston, or are they going to give him one more year?
Long. He won the cup with them, right?
He won the cup with them, but if he loses that game to Montreal, he's not on that team after that. Because when they won the cup in 2011, they went to Game 7 against Montreal. If they lose Game 7 to Montreal, he's gone.
That's such a weird thing,
I'm going to be brutal. I never thought that their team was overly that good. Even when they won the cup, I didn't think they had that great of a team.
They were just assholes.
They had lots of very good players, but I just always thought they were a little overhyped, quite frankly.
Yeah.
They used to do the rough and tumble, beat you up style, and
now they're getting beat at their own game.
You know, the rough and tumble guys are kind of gone, and you're kind of seeing what's left.
I still think Patrice Bergeron's one of the most overrated players in the NHL.
He was very upset on the bench on Saturday when they were down. Like when they called what do you call those things? Timeouts. when they called the timeout, like in the second or at the start of the third, he was just yelling at the bench. I'm like, yeah, that's encouraging, getting yelled at.
Probably really hurts too when I think 4 of probably the top 20 scorers in the league, 3 of them in the top 10 they used to have, and they just dumped.
That's different. They won the cup.
Just saying.
No,
I'm
but
just
they
saying.
won the cup, so they won that, right? But So you'd say, I'm gonna give him another year. Reason we talked about this at the start of the year. Bruce Boudreau was on the hot seat, and now Anaheim, right? The ownership said no, we're holding the players accountable, not the coach. So at what point, there's a fine line, obviously. Or have they given Claude Julien too many chances?
They've given him too many chances.
Well, then,
how many years before they won the cup did he coach? He's been there for
quite
a while.
Few. He was there for quite a few.
I think he's their most winningest coach, maybe behind, obviously, like a guy from the 70s.
Don Cherry?
John Blank. No,
Don
not Cherry.
Maybe
Cherry, I don't know.
I think a coaching change is never a bad thing, especially for a team that's had a guy for a very long time. It might go along with their change of culture that they're going to have because they're going to be getting a bunch of new young guys coming through that system. And that might be something to win over some more free agents and say, we have a new coach, we have a new team, we have a new group atmosphere. But it's one of those things that I can't remember what's the GM's their name. What's his name? Don Sweeney.
You mean the crazy man? The butcher on Sweeney Street?
Yeah.
Sweeney Todd. Yeah, that guy.
He'll go to his captains and he'll make a full assessment of the team and he'll say, is it a locker room thing? Is it a coaching thing? Because I think as a new GM, you want the faith of your players in you as a GM. And he'll have a sit-down talk. He'll have a tough week, and I think that's why there hasn't been a decision made yet, is because it will be a tough decision because you have a coach that's coached for so long. And I personally think it's time for change there. There's a lot of good coaches out there. You can Mike Yeo, who was fantastic for Minnesota. He could step in there and probably do some...
Who's the new coach in Minnesota? Oh, the guy from Iowa Wild.
Yeah.
Right. Okay.
So I think that's another option.
Yeah.
It'll be
That's a
interesting
really
to see.
good one. I didn't think about that.
Yeah. And then...
Mark Crawford?
Mark Crawford's out there.
Maybe. I don't know.
But then they're also saying on TSN, they're like, if Claude Julien gets fired by the Boston Bruins, Montreal will pick him up. Because he's French.
Oh, I was going to make a joke about that way back.
Did he not coach Montreal?
No, he's never coached Montreal.
Bergeron just wants to get fired with his buddy Michel Therrien because he doesn't want to fire his friend.
Yeah.
Which is hilarious because another coach who's also staying on, you've mentioned this plenty of times, maybe it was because, they got the buddy system, the old boys club, Colorado. They announced Patrick was staying there. They're riding the wave, and I'm like,
I
don't know.
I don't know if Patrick Waugh is that great of a coach, but at the same time, I don't know if he's the issue there. I think they have an imperfect team still, but that could come down to coaching. It'd be interesting to see what they do there. Last but not least, last week you guys were talking about the 2013 draft and how Edmonton drafted Nail Yakupov. Yakupov. I don't know if I mentioned this on the podcast before. I heard it on a different podcast. Can't remember if I mentioned it here. But apparently what happened in that draft room beforehand was...
Which draft room?
In 2013.
No, but which team?
Well, Edmonton. Before they went and drafted, it was Lowe and one other guy, I think. And they consulted the group, and they said, okay, guys... First overall pick, who are we taking?
And you have all your scouts. You probably have 9 or 10 scouts.
Yeah, so you have probably a room of about 11 to 12 people. The vote was almost unanimous. We're going Murray. We want Murray. So Lowe goes back, talks to McTavish. McTavish says, no, we want Yakupov. So Lowe and McTavish go against what their scouts say, and they're like, no, we're taking Yakupov. Thanks for your input.
Hold on. Is that because Mr. Cates...
That's because Mr. Cates said he's going to put more butts in seats.
Well, okay.
But that's because ownership got involved. Yeah. Ownership cannot get involved.
Well,
you cannot let ownership influence
the ownership has a point in terms of, you'll put butts in seats. But do you want it now for a little bit, or do you want it a long time forever? Or long time is in 6 years.
But as I mentioned before, the best player, and I agree now, I thought Brian Burke was crazy when he said it. It's turning out more and more that Morgan Rielly was the number 1 pick that draft.
Yeah.
He has turned into the best player so far in that draft. Jacob Trouba's close. Oli Matt is close.
Trouba was 12. Was he
Trouba
not?
was
No, he was
ninth.
8. He was 9th.
He was 2012 draft.
No,
he was
2013.
2013.
That was the
No,
No, he
crazy-
was 2012. No, he was
13 was
2012.
Morrissey year.
13 was Morrissey.
Morgan. The year that Yak got
Oh, yeah.
drafted,
Yeah,
it was the
2012.
D draft.
Yes, it was
Because
the D
Trouba
draft.
went
Oh,
in
then it was
Yeah.
2012. Oh.
Sorry.
No,
So
that's fine.
that
But-
sucks.
Exactly. And, like, if you're an Edmonton, you're like, oh, for fuck's sakes.
You hire GMs who hire scouting staff and management
You listen
to
to
do
them.
that job for them because you
Not-
listen to it's an investment for you, I understand. But you hire these people so that you can step away and go on vacation or run other businesses.
It's like Chipman going and saying, no. We don't want Mark Scheifele.
Yeah, there you go.
We want Sean Couturier. Right on the draft floor, he says that. Where Cheveldayoff has thought about it. He's consulted his scouts. His scouts say, no, we like Scheifele for this team. Because as good as best available is, sometimes is best thing for your team. Mm-hmm. As great as a defensive center would have been for the Winnipeg Jets, what Mark Scheifele's brought to the table, what we've seen in the latter half of the season, is what they needed.
And coming into his own in the prime of his career,
Yeah,
he was saying.
exactly. So now, let's get to the playoffs. It's playoff time. The most wonderful time of the year.
Oh, it's so beautiful.
So we're going to start in the Eastern Conference, and we're going to go from the Metropolitan Division to the Atlantic Division to the Central Division, and then finish off at the Pacific Division.
We're taking the geographical route.
So, exactly.
Oh, good. I don't
So-
know the geographical, so I'm glad.
To break down how we do it as a group for our playoff bets is we each pick a team for each series, and we say the games. So, for each series, there's going to be different bets on the table.
Correct.
So, it's Slurpee.
For this round,
Round
we are
one.
playing
Round
for
one,
a Slurpee.
we're playing for Slurpee.
That is it. That's all they need
So
to
the
know.
winner gets a Slurpee. So we'll tell you who wins after the first round because it's going to be tallied up by who
You get the correct team, you get a point. Correct amount of games, you get a point. If there's a tiebreaker, say if Dan and I both pick the same team and in the same amount of games, then we'll just do one of
fight
us.
to the death. We have two swords.
Correct.
Rochambeau.
That too. Yeah.
Rochambeau.
Jesus. We each get a Guitar Hero guitar to beat the piss out of each other. No, one of us. We'll just each pick who we think's going to be the top points getter in that series.
Exactly.
And you
There
can't have the same player, obviously. So.
Yes. So that's how it works. So without further ado, let's start with the President's Trophy. Washington Capitals playing against the filthy Philadelphia Flyers.
Am I talking
What?
first?
And
What are the
Cam
biggest?
is grooving.
Yes. What are the biggest headlines of this series?
Well, shitty news. Yesterday, Ed Schneider, founder and owner of the Philadelphia Flyers, passed away.
Mm-hmm.
So obviously, the Flyers are already dedicating their run to the playoffs to Ed Schneider. He's huge in hockey. He was one of the main reasons why there was the next six was because he wanted a team so goddamn bad in Philadelphia. He said, it's gonna work. They're like, it's not a hockey town. He's like, you know what? When you come to my town, you're gonna fucking know it's a hockey town. Because if we start, you'll never come back.
The original, they call him the original Broad Street Bully.
Yeah,
'Cause
he's terrifying.
His team got pushed around in the late 60s, early 70s. Like, I'm fucking done with this. We're getting the biggest motherfuckers and we're putting them on this ice.
Yeah.
And that's how
guess
this is going to
what?
work.
Can you play hockey?
75 happened. And everyone's like, can we stop? Can we stop, please?
The Russians even left. They're just like, fuck this, we're
The
done.
Russians left the ice, and Ed Schneider was the guy who went down. He was the guy who went in the room. As they left the ice, he walked into the Russian room and like, you will not get paid for this whole series if you don't finish this game. And I bet you did it with the biggest shit-eating grin on his face because
Probably.
he knew they were going to just beat the shit out of him again. I'm sorry for the vulgar, but that's the only way to describe how awesome Ed Schneider was. So
Yeah.
I'm sad to hear his passing. So with that, obviously, the Flyers are fueled for fighting for Ed, but the Washington Capitals just came off literally, I think, their franchise best regular season ever.
And here's the thing. You know a team is in it to win when they're like, Mr. Holtby, if you win this game, you set a league record for wins in a single season. Do you mind not playing and not risking injury? And he turns to the coach, winning's more important than getting a record.
Tied the record, 49 wins.
That's how you know a goalie is ready to make that step.
Yeah.
And I read a great article from Down Goes Brown as he kind of talked about all the series, and he said, the one thing about the Washington Capitals, you know if they get into a Game 7, they're going to win. Because they have Mr. Game 7, Justin Williams.
Oh, fuck. I forgot about
Yes.
So what happens?
So if
what
Philadelphia
happens-
wins, it has to be in 6.
So what happens if the Caps play the Rangers in another Game 7?
They're gonna win.
sure?
They
They have a Lundqvist. Lundqvist is
How many times have
right here.
Yeah.
How many times have the Rangers beaten the Caps in 7 games in the last 3 years?
None. That's that. The shots are the same. The score is the same. Lundqvist has the same amount of shots as the same. Ovi tapes his stick the same. Nothing changes. It's some fucked up weird dream we keep reliving over and
Justin
over.
Williams changes that, maybe.
I
We'll
hope
see.
so.
So, the biggest headlines going into this series is one: are the Flyers going to use emotional sentiment to beat up on the Washington Capitals?
Yes.
And is this going to be the Washington Capitals coming out playoff party?
Well, of all the 3 teams that they could have played out of Detroit, Boston, or Philly, I would not have wanted Philly. I'm being super biased, of course, but like,
Here,
do you really want to? They don't. The season series is 2-2.
Here's the other thing: when you look at goaltending, just starting from the goaltending, you have a goalie in Mason who's been in 1 playoff series
Yep.
his entire career versus Holtby, who just came off 49 wins in a single season. I like Washington for the pure fact that I just think they're a better built team right now. However,
solid front to back, top to bottom. They're the best team right now.
if Mason gets hot, and the one thing I saw, because I saw the Detroit Philly game last Wednesday, holy shit did Mason save Philadelphia's ass
A lot.
in that game. And he's got the ability, he looks like the Calder Trophy winning
Mason.
Mason. And that's scary if I have to go against that.
But now Ovi isn't a 50 goal scorer winner. Ovechkin again to cap off the regular season. He's like, second last game of the year. I'm gonna sit tomorrow. So give me a hattie for big old Ovi. 50 goals, 7th time in his career. Unbelievable.
One of the best goal
Ovi's
scorers
not
ever.
alone in scoring anymore. They're not. Ovi can be on the bench and they can still score in Kuznetsov.
He wasn't there.
Justin Williams.
He wasn't their top point getter this year, Ovi.
And
That's a scary stat, isn't it?
Yep.
Ovechkin wasn't the best guy on the team.
Are you telling me that Mike Richards doesn't want to come out and play as hard as he can to try to get a contract for next season?
Oh, and
He's
play
Are
with
you
his
telling
old
me
team
that
who
Mike
traded him out of
Richards
town?
doesn't want to beat the Kings in the final?
Just
You telling me that?
well, isn't that sweet to cap it off? Beat the team that traded him in the first round. Beat the team that let him go in the final. Ooh.
That's mean. But
Okay.
Payback.
I think the headlines in this series go past Ovi, and I think it goes to how well can Kuznetsov and Burakovsky and the secondary scoring that Washington has built over the last few seasons do.
And
in the
can
playoffs.
Tom Wilson stir the pot without taking incredibly dumb penalties? I'm referencing his hit on Nick Bonino last
Wow,
week.
he's a borderline.
We know. We all know what he is. Dan, you don't even have to say it.
Yes.
We know what you're going to say.
Yes.
But
yeah.
here's the thing, and I think we can all agree on it. Whoever wins this series, we don't care. As long as Pittsburgh beats the Rangers.
I'm going to
Because-
disagree with you on that. You'll find out why later.
Fuck you. But we'll talk about that in a second. The only reason why is it's a win-win situation. Because if Philadelphia wins and they play Pittsburgh, you get a Flyers-Pittsburgh series.
If
which
you
is
get
never
Rangers
more-
Caps, yay, Rangers Caps again!
No, you don't want that. Because you want Caps pens so you can get killed with the OV versus Crosby debate.
It's Alexander's argument, everybody.
Yeah.
Hashtag Alexander's
Can they create a B-side so that when Philly and Pittsburgh both lose, they still play each other?
Please let it happen.
If they're playing for the tea time, winner gets the tea time, not loser.
So, let's pick who you think's going to win the series. How many points? Highest point getter, go.
Well, I don't need to, well, we'll go.
Okay,
we'll only do the points
who
getter
are the
if-
untouchables?
Wait.
No OV?
No, wait. We only need to say the points, guys, if
Okay.
there's a tiebreaker.
There's
That's
got to
it.
be untouchable players.
Yeah. Okay, so you pick first. What team do you have in games?
Caps in 5.
Fuck you, Greg.
You're going to pick
Words
Caps
out
in
of my
5?
mouth, Dan. Dan, who's your team?
Washington.
Okay.
It's going to be interesting because I don't think Philly's good enough to compete with Washington, but they sure as shit can beat them up. And that's what they're going to try and do. So it could be very interesting. If Philly gets really good goaltending, they have a shot.
Okay.
But I'm going to go Caps in 5 as well.
Okay. Who will be?
Kuznetsov.
That's your guy.
Is he okay? Who's untouchable on both teams?
Okay. There's one untouchable. Well, I'll say one
Ovechkin.
untouchable. Ovi.
Okay.
Ovi and Giroux.
Oh, and in the
No.
series. No,
Giroux didn't
just
even
you
have that
pick
good
for
year.
the team you have.
Oh, yeah, no Ovi.
Yeah.
You're going Kuznetsov, eh?
Let's keep in mind Oshie and Backstrom are also on Ovi's line.
I'll do Backstrom. Why not?
Okay. All right. Well, you guys are silly. The Philadelphia Flyers in 6.
See, and
No,
that's
because
so
if it goes
realistic, though.
if it goes I thought about this. If it goes to Game 7, I don't want it to go to Game 7 because it's in Washington.
Yeah.
Flyers in
And-
6.
Flyers in 6.
Alright.
They have Justin Williams. I didn't think about till now. I'm just thinking, Ovi, Game 7. Holy shit, Ovi, how did you let it get to Game 7 in round 1? You're supposed to win the cup. That's an Ovechkin I don't want to see on the ice. Not playing against the Flyers. Any other team, 100% I want to see that.
Here's the other thing, too, is...
I'm being delusional,
If-
but I'm taking Flyers in 6.
The Flyers could... If they're going to win the series, it has to be in 6 games.
It must be in 6.
Which means they have to win once in Washington.
They got to take one of the first 2 games.
Which they can do.
I think they'll take Saturday, Game 2.
I think, realistically, it's going to be 1-1 going to Philadelphia. And Washington is just going to be like, after that first loss, they're going to get in the room, and Trotz is going to be like, don't fuck it up. And they're going to be like, you're right, we're not going to fuck it up. And they go out there and they win 3 straight, and it's over.
Fun fact to chew on before we move on. Last time the Caps made the playoffs and were one of the hottest teams in the league, 2008. They won the Southeast Division. Hottest team in the league going down the stretch. Hadn't made the playoffs. Ovi's first time in the playoffs. Guess who they played in the first round?
Philadelphia Flyers.
And guess who won?
Philadelphia Flyers. Okay. But we're also talking about a different Philadelphia Flyer team at the
In
time.
7 games in Washington.
Well,
That's
Just
that made it interesting.
we made
Okay,
our
say
picks. Next series. Where are we
So,
running?
New York, Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh, hottest team in the league of the last 2 months. Crosby, the best player on the planet in the last 2 months. Who do you got?
Okay, well, Pittsburgh, surprisingly, for goals in the series, only had 12-9 over the season. So, low-scoring games. Nail biters. I'm taking... Now, I got to pull back and apologize. I'm not taking Pittsburgh in 5. I had to think about it. I'm taking Pittsburgh in 7, though. Yeah, I'm taking Pittsburgh. 100%. Why? I'm being greedy. I want Pittsburgh and Flyers. Who doesn't want that? I'm taking Pittsburgh because they might get Gino back. Even if they don't, their firepower... The Rangers, what's been
They
their
just got
problem
Mata
every
back.
year?
They
What's
also
been
got Mata back.
Okay, well, what's been their problem every year?
Scoring.
Rangers, scoring.
The Eastern Conference Final.
Penguins have plenty of scoring, but their goalie's still out with a concussion.
Who's their goalie?
Oh, hold on. There's 2 I have to name with concussions.
Murray.
Fleury has a concussion, and I'm so sorry, but you did a solid by letting us make the playoffs and benching Crosby and Letang, and then Braden Shen rewarded you with a knee to the face, and I might have a concussion if he doesn't. So right now they're going forward with Zatkov, and they called up Tristan Jarry from the AHL, so like 2 years removed from junior hockey. Not confident in it, but I'm...
When you have to go against Henrik Lundqvist.
For my disdain for the Rangers, I have to pick against... That's why I'm incredibly biased. I pick off teams I don't like, not off skill. So I'm taking Pens in 7. Dan, go.
I will also go 7 games, but I will not go with Pittsburgh.
Why are you going Rangers? Why do you want that carnage?
Who's got home ice in this one?
Okay, besides some personal bias reasons after this
Penguins
year.
do.
Penguins have home?
Yeah.
Yes.
They finished second place.
They finished second.
Okay, cool.
Besides some personal bias reasons after this year, I think their the Rangers' window's closing, and they're going to bring it.
They also got Eric Stahl.
And they also got Eric
That's
Stahl.
true. I forgot they had Eric Stahl because I just had... Sometimes, like, in markets like New York, at least in Winnipeg, we don't hear about them that often.
And you also got Rick Nash, who somehow slithers his way through playoffs.
He doesn't
sometimes.
slither. He has guys... He can't score breakaways or shootouts. He can only score to guys hanging off of his hips. That's the only way he scores goals.
But
Also,
being a
the lack of clarity on Pittsburgh's goaltending is going to hurt them.
Greg.
Such a decisive pick. I have such a hard time ever picking the Rangers because I absolutely hate everything about the New York Rangers.
See, that's what bad to not listen to.
At least I like some aspects of the Penguins. Murray's been such a great story to root around. Crosby's been great. I gotta go Pens in 6. I think Crosby's playing too well right now. I think that team's rallying too well. I think Letang has been one of the best players in the league, defenseman wise at least. Yeah, Pens in 6.
Okay.
That's simple.
And I just want to say we can't go without mentioning the Pens' secret weapon, Filthy Phil Kessel, obviously.
Well,
Kessel's
that
in
much
the
of a
here's the
secret
other thing:
anymore?
is I'm also guilty.
Well, it's
I'm
not a
also
secret.
very guilty of being greedy, because I would, as much as I want to see Ovi lift the cup, part of me wants to see Phil Kessel lift the cup and just be like, "Fuck you, Dave Feschuk."
I won't cheer. I'm not going to cheer for the Penguins. Oh, I'll pick for them to win, but I won't necessarily cheer for the Penguins. But I'm 100% cheering for Phil Kessel.
Well,
Next
of course.
series, bring it on.
Okay. Now to the Atlantic Division, where we get the Florida Panthers versus the New York Islanders. The one matchup I didn't want because I love both teams so freaking much.
Whoever
Go
wins
down.
this series seriously could win the whole thing. I think.
Mm-hmm.
Complete dark
What?
horse. Complete
Oh
dark
my
horse.
goodness! We're way on. I want to hear your picks then, because we're
Okay.
way on different spectrums. From
This
both
one
of
is hard. I'll be watching every game in this series. 'Cause
Oh
this is going to be
yeah,
fantastic.
because Florida's in the playoffs. The rubber
Dude.
rats are back, guys. The rubber rats are back.
The Islanders are the team that everyone forgets, and everyone forgets how good they are. They almost beat Washington in the first round
Ooh.
last year.
Although,
Both teams have not won a playoff series since the 90s.
But
whoa.
potential deciding factor, no Halak for the Islanders in the first round.
And Anders Lee fractured his tibia out for the rest of the season indefinitely. So
They
that's
can
a-
live with that one.
The Islanders haven't won a playoff series since 93. Since the not the Panthers, the Islanders.
since
Haven't won it
'93.
Since the Panthers have been a team.
Do you mean since Jaromir Jagr won his second cup?
Yes.
24 years later, he's back.
And the Florida Panthers have not won since 96, when they went all the way to the Stanley Cup final. Or
Lost to.
the
Colorado.
Colorado Avalanche.
Oh, every time I think
God.
of Florida, I think of Vancouver and like that, the same similar trajectory,
Yes.
paths or whatever.
So did I.
All right,
Florida.
Okay.
Go Dan. You start.
It's going to be tough. It's tough for me to pick. It's going to be fantastic to watch, and Florida's going to win in 7.
Oh, thank you, Dan. Thank you. Oh,
And Kevin Spacey's going to be at every single game.
Here's
I hope so.
And like for me, I always have to rationalize my picks to myself. My biggest thing with this, this is a tough one, because I was driving home today from work and I'm like, you know what's tough is I don't know who the fuck I'm gonna pick in this series, because on one account you love Florida because it's Florida, and you want them to succeed, but me being the greedy person I am, I'm like, but Grabowski and Kulemin, and then I'm like, but Bukestad and Huberdeau. I'm like, Grabowski and Kulemin. And I just had that conversation with myself in the car, so I'm going Islanders in 7. Despite goaltending troubles, I feel that they are a better built team, and I think because of some experience on the team, they'll be able to beat a team with a little bit less experience, but it'll be a fun series to watch, and I'll secretly be rooting for Yager the entire time.
See, that's the thing. There's a few series. Well, maybe only a very few in this. This is one of them for me where it's like, I will be happy whoever wins.
Yeah.
I'm going to be sad
I
whoever
agree.
loses, but I will also. I'm not upset with the winner of this
Exactly.
I
series.
agree.
I'm glad we won't have any tiebreakers in this. I have Florida in 6.
Okay.
But just a note for the Isles, Hamonic might be coming back, which is monstrous.
Huge.
But I'm just going to say for my own, I just want to say it so I can have my dude I called it moment. Coming out party, he's going to be real good. And people are going to be, damn, why didn't we know about that guy? Or how come he got so good? Vincent Trocheck.
Well,
I think he already
He's-
came out
he's already
during
came
the
out
year.
Guys, I want to be that guy.
Vincent Trocheck has been great all year.
Vincent Trocheck and Jonathan Huberdeau is going to score an overtime winner. And quote me, Game 3.
Okay.
All right.
I just really want to go out on the limb.
Detroit. Tampa Bay with a home ice advantage.
Do we need to pick the winners? You know who I'm taking.
We know who you're taking.
Obviously, Detroit. No. Because I don't trust Tampa to win in 4, I'll give them Tampa in 7.
I don't know if Tampa can win.
That's
this.
my rationalization. Like,
Can't-
I'm like, well, if they can't sweep them, it's going to be 7. So I'll take Tampa in
Here's
That's
the
what
7.
happened last year.
Is
I
Tampa
know.
has no Stamkos and no Johnson.
They have. Johnson might be coming back, and Jonathan Drouin is awesome. So I know what you're talking about.
Hedman's out, isn't he not?
We don't
Is he
need.
back?
They don't need.
They
Callahan
have
was out.
so many. They have so many injuries. So many guys playing hurt. They're not the team. They're not as much of the team they were last year. I'll be on.
House phone?
Who is calling
I
you?
didn't know there was a
Nobody
house
ever
phone in
phones.
here.
Why is someone phoning you?
I don't know.
Oh, never mind.
That's awesome. Okay.
I have to go Detroit. I think they're going to be fueled with piss and vinegar, and they're going to try their best to get Pavel Datsyuk as far as
I think it's
possible.
actually steel-cut oats and grinded down steak because they don't have any teeth because they're old and no one likes them. And Datsyuk is going to KHL next year.
And I'm sorry, but Dylan Larkin is amazing.
So
and he's
Detroit
so
in how many?
fast. I'm going to go Detroit in 6. They'll win it in the Joe. Plus, it might be
All
the
right.
last playoff series in the Joe.
I will say, up until about 10 minutes ago, I had the exact same pick as Greg. But
Boom!
now that I've been thinking about it, Tampa Bay is limping into the playoffs. There's so much controversy going around that team right now. I'm just going to go with this. Hey, you want to go out on a limb?
Yeah, you do too.
For an unofficial prediction, I will go out on a limb for an official prediction. Detroit sweeps them.
Wow! Damn! Bah! Bah! All right, here we go.
I'm in the same boat as you, though. If it doesn't go to 4, it's going to 7.
There's another
nothing
option.
in between.
No, when we hit the West, there's one other series where I'm like, well, if they're not going to sweep them, I'm giving them 7. Like, it doesn't make sense.
So let's start in the Central Division, where the Dallas Stars take on the Minnesota Wild. So for the second straight year, once again, 5 Central teams make it to the playoffs, and only 3 Pacific teams. So Dallas, Minnesota, who do you got? Why? What do you think?
This is
Super biased pick
this
again.
Yeah. This is a tough one to
Is
call.
Sagan back, by the way? Is he going
Potentially.
to be
They haven't.
back? Doesn't actually matter, I don't think. I mean, no, what am I okay, Sagan matters.
That matters.
But I'm saying, like, Dallas is so good. So good. But my love for Mikhail
But they don't
Granlund-
have Granlund, yeah.
But my love for Mikhail Granlund and holla at your boy.
Eh,
And holla at your boy is going to shut Jamie Benn down.
all right.
Because Minnesota can't sweep them. Minnesota in 7. Yeah, that's my other series that I'm like, well, bah.
Quick question. And
I will not be upset whoever wins it. No, I will be a
You
little
might
bit.
know this.
Go.
Because I don't. Do we know where Dallas ranked in Corsi this season?
Actually, I don't, but I know Hockey News, they broke down like every head-to-head.
'Cause
So
that
go
was-
to Hockey News if you
Because
want.
that was one of the things that killed Colorado when they played Minnesota in the same kind of situation. Because Minnesota just held
possession
it,
game is
so good.
unbelievable.
However, you have a team with a newer coach versus a team with pretty damn good coach in Lindy Ruff. But the Dallas Stars don't wear Chicago Blackhawk jerseys. So I'm wondering. However, they do have...
Oh,
a
yeah,
gold
right.
Blackhawks-
Minnesota's so excited about this. Like, they're like, guys, I know we have to play Dallas. They're good. They're good. But they're not Chicago. Am I right? Guys, team hug. And they came in and all hugged.
However, they do have to play against a former Chicago Blackhawk goalie, former Chicago Blackhawk defenseman.
Oh, yeah, Oduya's going to have. Damn it, I sound like Dan.
He's gonna light it up.
Yeah, yeah. Oduya's a good player, but they don't have to play against Keith or Seabrook. So that's
true.
pretty good.
I'm going to pick
For
Stars.
Charlie Coyle, it's great.
Stars in 7.
Stars in 7. I like it.
Fuck Greg.
Oh, okay. Greg gets to pick first. Then
Hang
this time.
on.
No Ben,
Hang
no
on.
Ben, no second. That's the
on.
rule. No
Hang
Ben,
on.
no second.
Okay, no. Dan's gonna re-up.
I'm looking at this and I'm picking a lot of 7s.
Yeah.
This is a tough
No,
one
that's
for me.
good because
This
then
is
we
a-
get long hockey. That's
know.
great.
The more hockey, the
But then I don't
better.
get free food. This is a tough one to call.
It's just a Slurpee,
This
Daniel.
is I'm definitely taking Dallas. But
Alright.
I think I'm gonna go 6.
Okay. Okay.
It's tough. I think the only way Minnesota can beat them is if they stone them with goaltending.
Devin Dubnyk
and I
plays
don't
like
think
in-
they have
out
a
of his
goalie.
mind.
I don't think they have a goalie good enough, and they might not have Parise. So
Here's the other thing, too.
Whoa,
That's going to be
that's news to me.
back injury.
When did that?
Back injury might not.
Here,
play.
here are the two things.
Who needs
Is
those?
I think both goaltending
Fine.
has the ability to be out of their mind and mediocre at the same time. I don't think the team that wins this series is going to actually represent the Central in the conference final because that's going to go to the winner of the next series between St. Louis and Chicago, which for some reason we always get a first round series that could be good enough to be a conference final. And this year it's Chicago
You
St. Louis.
mean the series that Chicago plays in and whoever else?
St. Louis is coming into the playoffs being one of the hottest teams, especially goaltending wise. Brian Elliott played out of his mind going into the playoffs. Chicago kind of didn't play well going into the playoffs at all. They weren't very good.
Well,
But-
hold on.
Didn't they win one regulation
They
game
lost
in the last
Duncan
12 or
Keith.
something?
Yeah.
They don't have Duncan Keith for game 1.
Yep.
You made a great point, though. He should have been gone for the first 2 games so he comes back on the road. But
I was also drunk when I said that.
Incorrect. He would be at home because St. Louis has the top seed.
I
Don't they?
lied. Though still, then that'd even be bigger implications.
Yes, it would.
But
I was drunk.
also, you look at the other side of things.
I don't even remember talking to you guys last week, I'll be honest.
Perfect. Well, I know you listened to
We
me,
could
so.
tell.
Yeah, I listened to you.
If we look at the other side of things, though, Duncan Keith just had 10 days to rest, or around there.
Yes.
So arrested Duncan Keith is,
A damn good Duncan Keith.
but Chicago decor,
Wakey.
Chicago decor without John. They're not as well rounded. Although Trevor Van Riemsdyk played every game this year.
Touche.
TBR. Here.
I have to say, sorry.
Yeah.
No, go.
We've seen this series a lot too,
Yeah.
and it usually ends up the same way. This year, it's not going to.
The Blues.
St. Louis is getting over the hump this year. I
Okay, how many, Dan?
think. Seven.
Here's the thing: is St. Louis right now playing really good hockey? They're playing with a centerman in David Backes, who is on an expiring contract. They're playing for a coach in Ken Hitchcock that, if they don't get past the first round, is probably going to get fired. There's a lot of implications to this series. It's St. Louis's time to maybe finally do something.
Well, maybe make the second round.
Maybe. I have such a hard time not picking Chicago, but right now, Brian Elliott is playing better hockey than Corey Crawford, so I'm going with St. Louis Blues in 6 games.
Ooh, perfect. Because I have Hawks in 6. Why? St. Louis is like watching paint dry. No, thank you. Second round, go home. Jonathan Taves, he's unstoppable.
And Patrick Kane.
Just in the play. You know
Andrew
what's scary? That's what I was going to mention. So the Andrew Ladd trade. Okay, you know how he got, obviously, the package that Winnipeg got? Chicago originally offered that exact same deal at the start of the year to Vancouver for Hamhuis. And Vancouver said no. Trade deadline, they went back with the same deal for Hamhuis. They were like, no, we want Hamhuis because they want to round out their top 4. Mm-hmm. They said no, so they went to Winnipeg thinking, well, if we can't bolster our D, we'll bolster our forwards. Yeah,
And we took it.
Yeah, because Friedman was talking about that the other day.
Oh, cool. Interesting.
So you're taking Hawks?
I'm taking Hawks in 6.
Okay.
Again, totally biased. I just don't like St. Louis.
Fair enough.
That's every one of my picks, by the way. Don't bet on
Well, I
my
know who
picks.
you're picking the other two.
So now we go to the Anaheim Ducks versus the Nashville Predators.
Smashville.
Can Nashville win just one series?
Can they win? Not this one. No.
Are the Ducks just that? Now
Look at the
here's
Ducks' record since Christmas.
Here's the
They're
conundrum.
not losing.
Here's the conundrum with the Ducks. Who do you play in net? They just won the Jennings Award.
Yeah.
Who do you play in net? Do you play
Gibson?
Is it Gibson?
100%.
Okay, over Anderson.
Yeah, I think isn't Anderson hurt or is he back?
I don't know, but either way,
I think
you got Gibson's got like just over a 2 goals a game average right now. Plays a pretty damn good hockey.
my question is
It's a fun game to play.
if you have 2 guys you can put in, then does it really matter?
No.
Most teams only have 1 guy they can put in and feel confident with.
However,
you have 2.
And Chicago is well aware of this, and Andrew Ladd's going to be on the ice. And how did Andrew Ladd win his first
What?
cup?
Andrew Ladd's
What?
not going to be on the ice.
No, it's
Oh,
the
I'm
Ducks
so
versus.
out.
He will be on the ice, but not in Anaheim.
Guys,
Here's the other.
sorry.
We're not talking the Jets here. They're not going to get swept. We're not talking Calgary because Nashville can win in Anaheim. We're talking about a team that continues to get to the playoffs every year, that plays in a much more difficult division than Anaheim does, has a decent goalie in Rene, has one of the world's best defensemen in Shea Weber, has some all-star scoring in both Philip Forsberg and Ryan Johansson,
James Neal.
James Neal.
Yep, 30-goal year.
And you're going against a team that's going to their prime versus a team that's exiting their prime in the Anaheim Ducks. Their entire blue line for Anaheim is up for contract next season, basically.
But they're young.
I don't care.
That's a scary thing.
That's
that
a
means
scary
more
thing.
money. And they gave that money to Ryan Kessler.
Yeah, they did.
True.
You've got a douchebag in Ryan Kessler, and an unproven goalie in the playoffs in John Gibson, and another unproven goalie in Frederick Anderson in the playoffs. If I'm picking Nashville in 7.
Damn it. That
did it.
speech got me rallied up.
did it.
But my pick's already made. I can't.
As much as I believe that Anaheim can win this series, as much as I believe and know that Anaheim's going to win this series, I believe in Nashville.
I think
because
this
I love their
has
fans.
upset written all over.
It does. But we also said that about Winnipeg last year. Because Winnipeg and Nashville are in the same position, or Nashville is in the same position as Winnipeg is. But I think Nashville is a more consistent team. I think they've got a little bit more firepower, and I also believe that they are prepared for this, they can beat them.
Is Nashville, quick question, going to wear their yellow helmets?
They should wear their yellow
That
helmets.
would be
Those
awesome.
are awful.
How dare you?
If they were in any other series, I'd say the Preds have a chance. This one, no.
What are you taking?
Not damn
What are
chance.
you taking?
I agree with Greg. They may not get swept, but it ain't going to be much more because
Go.
Anaheim's going to win in 5.
Oh, sweet! Not another tie.
You know why?
Sweet, I got Anaheim in 6.
Anaheim was goddamn last place in the whole league damn near at Christmas time. Guess what happened? They won their division. Yeah, fun, right?
They know how to win.
They do know how to win.
All I knew was win.
Plus, as much as you guys want to see Pittsburgh, Philly, I want to see LA Anaheim again because that's awesome. every
Oh,
time.
well, I know who Dan's picking next series. Dan, lead us off. Next series. Let's go.
Next series, simple.
The final one.
Next series, simple. It's been 2 years. The Kings are winning.
How many?
Who's the home team? LA.
The Kings.
LA. They don't really have to go far to travel to the away game, though. Let's just clear that up.
I'm gonna say it's gonna be a fight. I'll say Kings in 7.
Okay.
You took Ducks in 6.
I
have Anaheim in 6.
I'm going with my heart here.
Okay.
And I have, as much as I like this goalie, he's going to get injured. Which means Optimus Prime is going to hold it down and bring San Jose back from a 2-0 deficit in the series. After 2 games, Jones is going to get hurt. Reimer's going to come back and poster these amazing numbers, stop LA, and they're winning in 7. There, I said it.
Really?
San Jose in 7.
Boom! There, Greg, we got a tiebreaker because I got San Jose in 7.
Woo!
Yeah, doggy, yeah. Okay, who's the? There is no untouchables because
there is
they're
no
all
untouchable.
equal. I will let you pick first.
Brent Burns.
Damn it! Damn it!
They have a Wookiee on their team.
Okay,
They're going to
you got
win.
Brent. You got Brent Burns. What do you?
Why are you?
Oh no, Dan's trying to. He's doing the C.
Who's
Little
the
Joe?
captain?
Little Joe.
Yeah.
Pavelski.
Hold on. First guy who popped in my mind.
Was
What?
Hurdle.
No, it was Marlo. Marlo. No, I'm going with my heart. Marlo was the first one. Dan's probably going to be right, but I'll take Marlo as a tiebreaker for points.
I don't actually.
I am going to be right. The Kings are going to win.
Most of me believes that the Kings' time is done. That they're going to be figured out in the series. They're going to be too slow to keep up to a great San Jose team that can score when they need to, have good goaltending, and when San Jose lost to the Jets, it wasn't as bad as when LA lost to the Jets.
At the end of the year, I was like,
Yeah, at least Winnipeg had to battle against LA, San Jose a bit. LA just stopped playing, and the Jets just came back and won after being down 3-0.
And they play themselves out of Austin back.
Exactly.
Here's why I think the Kings are going to win. Short and simple. 2 years ago,
Oh fuck no!
San Jose was up 3-0 over a team known as the LA Kings.
Yeah.
Everyone thought the Kings' time was done. San Jose had finally figured it out. They'd finally gotten over the hump. What happened? They lost 4 straight games. What happened? The Kings won the cup. It's their fucking kryptonite. They're not winning.
Okay.
It's
Go ahead.
As
Now,
good a year
I'll
as
remind-
they had, and if there's any year that they're finally going to do it, it's this year, Sharks. I don't think they can get past the Kings.
Okay.
as much as I want James Reimer to play for the Sharks, I think right now Martin Jones is one of the best goaltenders on the planet. And I think that they have a great system in San Jose. I think they're playing great. They're playing for each other. They believe in each other. Unlike LA, where they're pissed off at their coach. They're not. I don't think they've been happy with Sutter all year. I think they've just been they've been a mediocre team in a shitty division.
Yeah.
Well,
3 of the bottom 5
were.
teams are in that division.
and they were also like 30 points ahead of everybody, and then Anaheim caught up to them.
Exactly. They're not. I don't think the Kings are as good as people think they are. I think they'll get figured out early on. If it's not by San Jose, it'll be by Nashville.
I'm changing my mind. I want Pavelski before we move on. I just
I
want to
already
say...
wrote down Marlowe.
Okay, let's do... Right now, because we've already done it from this forward, who's your Eastern Conference, Western Conference, and then Cup?
Eastern Conference,
Go.
Capitals.
Okay, verse.
Oh,
Oh,
East,
no.
Oh, no, okay, perfect. Caps.
Caps.
And West.
Eastern Conference. My Western Conference team is going to be... I said Blues?
Okay.
Stars, right?
Do you play with Kate?
Nope. San Jose.
Okay, San Jose, Washington, perfect. Final.
Do you
Go.
play within your division, or is it just 1 to 8?
You go. No, it's... Okay.
So if Washington beats
okay, so this is how it's...
Philly, do they have to
No,
play?
Washington will play the winner of New York and Pittsburgh.
Yeah, it's now
So we
set
did it
in
this
the
way.
bracket.
So
Okay, then we're gonna go Caps, Panthers, East final.
Okay. East
Okay.
and that's going to break my heart because I don't know who I'd pick, and I want both of them to win.
Because I'm going to pick Caps,
Okay.
Red Wings in Eastern Conference final. Caps, Red Wings, Eastern Conference
Caps,
final.
Panthers.
Caps, Panthers. Okay.
Caps go to the final.
Okay, okay, Caps.
Okay, West, how does this work?
So it'll
If
be...
the Kings win, who do they play?
Kings would play Anaheim.
The winner of Anaheim,
Nashville. Yes.
Kings, Blues.
Okay.
It's going to be Washington, LA in the final because I picked that at the start of the year, I'm pretty sure.
Guys, a little out of my mind. Little loopser. But hey.
So he's going to pick Flyers.
Yep, they're in the final,
And the
baby.
Panthers.
No.
Flyers and the... Wait. I know, I saw this today.
Chicago Blackhawks.
Flyers and the Hawks, and the Flyers are going to win in 6.
No Hawks.
Flyers and the Sharks, and the Flyers are going to win in 6.
Correct.
Sharks.
Yeah.
That a
Dude,
boy.
I want
That a
Sharks.
boy.
It's
That a
time.
boy.
It's time.
Hey, it could happen.
This is real. Like, hey, if I take my incredible bias out of it, I honestly think the winner of the Flyers series is going on to the Eastern Conference. Whether they win or not, I think they're gonna, because they're just gonna know how to play.
I think it's the same way as the team that comes out of the Florida Islander series.
Yeah.
I think they'll probably represent.
No, I just want to do something for fun real quick. From episode 61, we called it Bold Predictions. October 7th, 2015, when the season started. Greg, your bold prediction from the East, just these are random ones, and then I'll tell you the teams. You had Kessel scoring 50 goals, and the Stars won in the Central.
Woo!
So,
Good job.
Dan, in the East, your bold prediction was Evander Kane 40 goals,
Oh, wow.
and the Jets won in the Central.
I went really bold.
Oh, I went bolder. Cam in the East, Nick Bukestad, 40 goals. My West prediction, Cam Talbot, 8 shutouts. What were you, high, Cameron? What the piss? Okay, and Greg.
Did he even have one?
Oh, God. None of us hit our bold predict. No, Greg hit the Stars number one in
Stars.
Central.
One
Okay.
of 6 guys.
This is the playoffs we predicted. Greg predicted East final, Washington, Tampa Bay. West, Minnesota, Anaheim. Final, Washington, Minnesota. Washington in 6 with Hope East winning. So you're not far off.
I'm not far off.
Dan, you predicted Washington, Detroit. West, Minnesota, Anaheim. Final, Washington, Anaheim. And you had Washington in 7 with Ovi.
As Conn Smythe winner.
And then there was me.
I lied. I didn't pick the Kings.
So,
And then there was
Cam, I had the East final being Tampa Bay, New York.
Oh, wow.
West
Rangers or
final-
Islanders?
Rangers. And then West, I had Anaheim, Minnesota. My final being Anaheim, Tampa. Anaheim in 6 with Hampus Lindholm.
Here's my
the fuck?
question. Why were we so high on Minnesota at the start of the year? Like, what was our hard on
Actually,
for
yeah,
Minnesota?
all of us have
what was
Minnesota.
going on?
in
Yeah,
there.
why did we all pick Minnesota?
Dubnik for a whole year?
Like, what?
That's a great point. I
think-
think pretty guys.
I think we just really wanted to go to a cup final game. We knew sure as shit the Jets weren't
Yeah,
going to be
that's true. That's a great point.
I just don't know.
Hey, if Minnesota, I'm going to be in Minnesota the 7th and 8th.
May?
Yeah, it's a
Most likely they'll be playing.
But that'd be like a game 6.
That'd
That'd be
That'd be
second
round 2.
series.
That'd be round 2.
That'd be second round.
That'd be late second round.
No, early second round.
Early-ish.
Early.
Well,
That should be
series-
like game 3 or 4, second round.
Well, series, if the I'll use the Flyers one. If they go to game 7, it's the last game's the 26th. Oh, shit.
Then
It'd
So,
be
yeah.
like game 3 or 4.
Yeah,
maybe
or 6.
Five,
Okay.
five-ish.
Nice. Episode 70,
no.
we made a bet. I'll just say the one bet that I had 2 bets open. But episode
God.
70, December 12th, 2015, if Justin Falk had 19 power play goals,
He
fucking
didn't do
Blizzard cake, and he didn't do it.
He didn't? I don't think he scored another
And
power
I
play
made-
goal
I
after
don't,
that.
I don't think he did.
I also made a bet on episode 61, just to open bet. If Buff scored a knuckle puck from behind center,
Oh, no.
I would buy both of you customized jerseys, which didn't happen again.
Oh, okay.
Bufflin scored from center.
No, behind center, and it had to be a knuckle puck. I was very specific. I was
What defines a knuckle puck?
like
has to be under
like
brand.
you clearly a knuckle puck, like a wobbly wobbler. You're not getting me on a technicality.
It
no
it
way.
was close.
Yeah, but anyway, so that was our bold prediction. So, yeah, we've already. So your final is Washington Kings. Kings in
No, Washington Kings Caps in 7.
Okay,
It's gonna be a burn.
You got Washington, San
Washington,
Jose,
San Jose.
and
Ooh.
you know
Caps
what?
in 6. I'm keeping Caps in 6.
Okay, I'll be so happy with that. Anyways, I got
Because
obviously.
Ovi just won.
I got the Flyers versus Sharks are the team I want in the West. That's a clear cut. Obviously, I want Minnesota, but if it came down to Minnesota Sharks, we have a few friends who have been fans forever, and Sharks are just awesome. Like, they're fun to watch, and what's great about the Sharks, too, is that you can have a whole evening, do whatever, you go on a date, come home, and then watch the whole game, because it's starting at 10.
I kind of liked, like, the Jets did the California trip the last week, and the games were at 9:30.
You could do stuff and not just sit down in the middle
Come
of the
home
game.
after school, eat dinner, do my homework. I'm like, oh, there's a hockey game on. Let's go watch it.
Perfect. Halfway through the first.
great.
Excellent.
It was even better where I was because it was an hour later. So the games were like at 10:30 at night. So we're like, guys, let's go to a bar and watch a Jets game. And it's 10:30 at night.
Man, being
Nice.
an East Coast fan of the Sharks would suck.
You know what's weird?
If you're in if you're in like New Brunswick or the farthest time zone, what would it be like?
It's
Midnight.
like 11:30 or midnight, yeah.
So you just have PVR at that point and shut your updates.
You know what's really weird? When you're in BC and you're like, oh, it's 4 o'clock, Jets play in 2 hours, and you look at your phone, oh, the Jets game started, it's 4 o'clock. Because it's 2 hours behind.
Yeah. I remember,
that's weird.
when I went to BC last summer,
crazy.
the final started, it was in Tampa. The puck drop for Game 6 started at, what was
Probably
it?
like 4 o'clock.
Like 3:34.
Yeah, it's
because
brutal.
we got there around like 3:15 and started watching pregame. It was the weirdest thing.
It's so weird.
It is.
It was awesome, and you could tell everyone skipped out of work because everyone was in suits, or a lot of people were in suits.
All right, this is the official predictions are going on the wall.
Round
Okay.
1, boom.
Sounds good. So that's a regular season done. And
Isn't it fitting that we ended the regular season podcast on episode 88 with the guy who won the Art Ross Trophy?
Yes, and Patrick Kane actually. I just want to say, first American to ever lead the league in points.
I found that really hard to believe when I read that.
I know.
Not doubting it because it's true, but
He had 106 points, 46 goals, 60 assists, and on his 45th goal, it was also his 250th career goal.
wow.
And Scotty Hartnell, I want to throw this in for me. He scored his 300th career goal. Justin Williams, Mr. Game 7, just played his 1,000 NHL games. I can't say that word.
So
Oh, and just another, funny tidbit about the Hawks. Artemi Panarin, there was a clause in his contract where if he finished in top 10 in scoring, he got a signing bonus. Or
He
a
finished
bonus
10th.
of, well, he fit top 10, so 10 or up, $1.725 million. He hit it. That puts the Hawks over the cap next year.
season, yeah.
caps over the cap.
Hawks over the,
Hawks over the cap.
Oh,
salary
Panarin.
cap. My bad, yeah.
Yeah,
I thought you, I thought you said Kuznetsov.
Yeah.
So
He finished 9th in scoring.
Panarin?
Yeah.
Oh wow. Okay. So two quick things because I mentioned it earlier in the podcast and I just remembered that I forgot to mention it. Kyle Dubas apparently getting the Arizona Coyotes are trying to poach Kyle Dubas away from the Toronto Maple Leafs.
Oh, no. I hope not.
I hope not either. Now on another note, Toronto Maple Leafs finished 30th in the NHL.
Leading into the election.
The
The
final
final
election
election before we find out.
When is the lottery? Is it
30th.
the end of 30th of April? I did it 100 times today.
And?
49 out of 100. The Leafs were somewhere in the top 3. However, Edmonton Oilers, in 100 tries, 31 first-round picks. Toronto, 13.
31-1.
31-1.
Oh, no.
Did you hear?
Please don't.
Oh, and they had Brendan Shanahan on Overdrive with Jeff O'Neill and I can't remember
O-Dog.
who else is on there. They asked Brendan Shanahan if he did the draft simulator. He did it one time, and he landed on the Leafs, and he's like, "That's it, not doing it again."
I don't like it, Gabe.
But the Jets also had 8, so but ahead of the Leafs were Edmonton, Colorado, Montreal, which shouldn't happen, and Vancouver.
I just
And the Jets were fifth.
I feel like if there's any year where a team way off will win the first pick, it's this year. Just because of how
Wait, so
Toronto
the Jets
had- Toronto-
do not have a chance at Austin Matthews
yes,
at
they
all?
do.
Yeah, they do.
Every
Everyone
team
does.
that did make the
Wait,
playoffs
then
gets
why
a
was everyone
chance.
freaking out about the 5th pick? Like, going
Because
from
your
5th
odds
to
go
6th?
okay.
Your odds
Toronto,
go down.
Toronto has a 20% chance
Yeah.
to get the first pick.
But they also have an 80% chance at Jesse and Patrick
They're
Laine,
guaranteed
right?
at 4th. They can't go worse than 4th.
Oh, okay.
Because they're drafting for the top 3 picks.
Got
So
it.
what
Edmonton
happened?
drops down. Edmonton finished second last. They dropped down to 13% chance.
Yeah.
And then it goes down. Vancouver's around 10. Columbus and Calgary are around 8.
Oh.
Winnipeg's around 6.
Okay.
That's the issue.
Oh.
Your percentage just
So
goes
let's
way
say if Toronto doesn't get the first pick and it goes to Edmonton, Toronto's now goes to 21.75% that they'll get the second overall pick. Then it goes to third and then it goes from there. You see.
If they don't get third, they get fourth.
They get
They're
fourth.
guaranteed fourth.
They're guaranteed.
So we don't want to see Toronto get pulled. So they wait.
You want to see? I want to see Toronto get pulled. But Winnipeg, anybody who missed the playoffs this year has a chance to get the first pick.
Oh, but
the
they're
second
doing
pick,
the
and
draft order from 14
down.
up.
Yeah. And the top 3 picks are up for
When's
grabs.
the 30th? What day is that?
30th of April. I don't know. It's a Saturday.
Perfect. Awesome. I'm going to watch it.
All right.
I missed out last year.
So yeah, sorry, the election. The bottom 5, Calgary, Columbus, Vancouver, Edmonton, Toronto, Winnipeg is 6th.
Yeah, 6 points. So Toronto finishing in last place. That's pretty awesome. I'm pretty excited for that.
There was actually a question, and I'm so glad I took a picture.
Oh.
You keep talking while you're doing
I'm just trying to think. I had something to talk about with Edmonton, and now I can't. Oh, did you guys mention at all the Shane Doan thing? The
We
playoff.
just talked about it briefly because Carrie knew
Carrie
about
brought
it.
it up.
Okay.
It was good.
I love the idea. For those who don't know what we're talking about, the idea is that once you are not officially mathematically eliminated from the playoffs, you start accumulating other points. They call it the gold plan. So, for instance, on Saturday, Columbus played Buffalo. Okay? Buffalo had something like 11 points since they were, or 9 points since they were eliminated, and Columbus had 8. If Columbus or whoever wins that game would have gotten the first overall pick on the gold plan. So it makes that game mean something versus 2 teams that have nothing to play
I
for.
love that. I absolutely. That is.
So,
yes,
Columbus-
that's the way to go.
I don't know who won the game, but if Columbus wins that game, they leapfrog Buffalo. They now get the first overall pick.
Yep.
It goes Columbus, Buffalo, then Toronto. So, yes, it's great. You could try to get eliminated by, like, middle of March, but then you still have to win from then on.
Yeah.
And the argument that some people said was they're like, well, what about young guys? Like, teams might be more fearful to bring young guys up. But clearly, if you're a team that it hasn't worked, maybe you need to switch it up and bring some younger guys up.
Yeah. Oh, I love that.
Like,
That's
you think
great.
about it, Toronto didn't want to bring, the Kasperi Captains, the William Nylanders up for the whole year. So they brought them up when the team was mathematically eliminated, and they started to win games. And I do think it's a great idea, because then it takes away from tanking, because who would have had it last year would have been Columbus. Because they went on a tear at the end of the year. Winnipeg would have been up there this year.
There's evidence, though, that the way they've done the draft lottery has changed teams' philosophy, though, because you look at the point totals. There's not as much separation. Last year, Winnipeg had
This is
99 points.
Yeah.
They barely made the playoffs.
Yeah.
Minnesota had 87 points this year, and they made the
Perfect.
playoffs.
That was my question. I
Yeah.
was going to say, what is that?
Yeah,
Okay.
12-point differential.
There's not as much separation.
Plus,
so
the bottom
teams-
team last year was around 60. The bottom team this year was 70-ish.
So
69.
5 games. That's a big gap. That's 2
Yep.
weeks worth of
Yep.
games, roughly.
Yep.
All right, closing words. Excited
Let-
for the playoffs.
Let it begin.
Let the real hockey start.
Yeah, let it begin.
Yes, I just admitted that the Jets hockey is not real hockey, but that's fine.
We know.
it.
We know what
We
you mean.
know.
Yeah.
And I always usually get quite a bit of food.
Who wants
around
to go
this
for
time of
wings
year.
tomorrow? Because I kind of want to go for wings. Wings?
I possibly wings.
Wings.
Is that your playoff beard?
Do you want me to grow up?
Stay up with. Follow us on Twitter. We got playoff beards, and by we I mean me. I still don't have a Flyers one because I'm waiting for them to release it. This is off the podcast banter. Closing words, guys. Are we gonna sing a song on the way out?
No.
It's
There
playoff.
were 3 German bombers in the air.
And the 3 German bombers in the air.